Now, President Biden, meantime, is expected to release his new budget plan tomorrow.
The president is set to propose new taxes on the wealthy to help fund Medicare for another 25 years. Part of the plan will include raising the Medicare tax on income above $400,000 from 3.8% to 5%. President Biden's goal is to reduce federal deficit by $2 trillion over a decade. For more, let's bring in CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe. Ed, good to see you always. The debt ceiling looms large over this process. Republicans are trying to tie budget reduction to the issue. From what we've seen so far, how does this budget address it?
Well, $2 trillion in deficit reduction is a pretty big number, and it's designed to demonstrate that this administration at least is eager to continue doing so amid attacks from Republicans that the size and scope of the federal government's too big, too expensive. And so his argument is we can do this while also raising taxes on the wealthy or on corporations that should be paying more, a popular political argument, but maybe one that may or may not be able to get enacted in practicality. It's important to remember, Budget Day is essentially a show us your cards day. It's when or if a full-blown multi- or one-year budget agreement is ever passed that has all the spending and other policy proposals in it that really is the end of the game. And so tomorrow, in essence, when the president formally unveils this, it's essentially a political document saying, if I could have my way, if I could spend the government's money the way I really like to, this is what I would do, this is what I would prioritize, this is how I would tackle things like the deficit, this is how much money I'd give to the Pentagon and to other agencies. But it's, in essence, immediately dead on arrival on Capitol Hill, which, of course, is divided evenly now between Republicans and Democrats. Republicans especially having control of the House of Representatives, where these kinds of agreements start.
So given that math, Ed, that you just laid out, how does President Biden realistically navigate this process when at this point he doesn't have that House majority?
By going out and talking about it and contrasting sharply with Republicans. He has been saying for the last several months, essentially since the elections, show us, Republicans, what it is exactly you'd like to do, how exactly you'd like to spend the federal government's money. They have not done that, and he will continue to point that out, saying, well, if you got a problem with what I'm proposing, show us what you would do. The problem is Republicans are in disagreement over exactly what should be spent, how it should be spent, how much to scale back, knowing that there are obviously bedrock conservative Republican principles in terms of limited federal spending. But by going after certain programs or certain different things that are being done by the federal government right now, you could potentially be putting key members or key swing states at risk, given the popularity of various programs. You've seen the president, for example, go out since the State of the Union and say, well, look, now they don't want to cut Medicare and Social Security as part of their plan to cut the deficit. How do they? And the White House is arguing the only way you can do that is by generating all that new tax that Nikki laid out there. And that'll be part of what he does. This is merely a political argument over some serious dollars and cents issues.
Ed O'Keefe, thank you.